Hey, it's Monday. It's right around noon. It's the final edition of Ski-U-Mah Weekly presented by the Minnesota Lottery for the 2017-18 season. Thank you for joining us. We've got a fun show. Maybe we'll go down memory lane, or maybe we won't at all, but it's been a fun year, and we're happy to be joined by former Gopher basketball player, now Lynx basketball player, Carlie Wagner. First of all, Carlie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We had you on in this building, floor 5 of the new Performance Center, about a month ago. It was Selection Monday. You were trying to figure out where you guys were going for the NCAA tournament, but we took a question during that show, if you remember right, with somebody asking, hey, wouldn't it be cool if the Lynx drafted you and you got to play for the Minnesota Lynx? And what do you know? That came true just a couple of nights ago. What was that whole experience like for you?
It was such a fun experience. It already feels like it was just yesterday, and it was already like 3 or 4 days ago. It's gone by so fast, but I actually had the opportunity to go watch it at Target Center with the Lynx and their fans and everybody, so it was a really fun experience, and just to be there with them when my name got called was super exciting, super cool experience.
Well, if you followed the WNBA mock drafts, your name was being thrown around with the Lynx a lot. Did you follow that stuff? Were you there partially because you're like, hey, everybody thinks I might go here, maybe I should go? What were your emotions there leading up to it?
The mock drafts and stuff were having me. I saw a lot of the time I was by the Lynx, so that was really exciting. But I guess I wasn't really looking up the mock drafts. People were kind of sending me like, hey, look at you. Right. The Lynx have you right now. So that's the main reason I was seeing it. But it was still exciting. I mean, just to see your name by the Lynx is every Minnesota girl's dream. What
was that day like in general? We talked on Selection Monday about all the different nerves and feelings you were going to have that day.
Yeah.
Different, similar, more so? Take us through the day.
Similar.
Yeah?
Similar. I just tried to stay really busy throughout the day. Came in, got some workouts in, went home, did homework, just tried to keep my mind off of it and stay relaxed because I was just so excited and anxious and wanted to get there. So really exciting day, though. I just had to keep my nerves down a little bit in the excitement.
The video that we showed leading into the show was obviously some of your experiences, hearing your name called, going to talk to Coach Reeve and the general manager, Cheryl Reeve, as well. How well did you know her before this whole experience, and what was that moment like that we saw on the court there when you got to give her a hug and say thanks for everything?
Yeah, I mean, I've known her for a while. She's definitely a big Gopher fan, season ticket holder, so she's at a lot of games, and then she comes to practices every year and kind of gives us a fun little speech and talks to us and brings a championship ring in that we can look at, so that's pretty cool. So she's been around our program a lot, and she's very familiar with us, so we've seen her quite a bit. But to go up on the court at Mayo Clinic Square and talk to her was amazing. It's like, oh, you're not just like, oh, Cheryl Reeve anymore. It's like you're my coach now. So super cool and super exciting, and it was fun to meet her in a different aspect, meet her as a coach instead. So.
A reminder, we can take questions for Carlie Wagner here. Just drop them in the comments section of the Facebook page. We'll try to get to as many as we can before we wrap up. We were talking a little bit, Carlie, before we went on the air. Well, now the work begins, right? Like the fun part is being drafted and that whole experience. But now basketball is your job, and I know you've got some other things going on, internships in school and all that. But what's it like when you are a professional and they basically texted you like the next morning and said, hey, come on up and work out, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely different. It's not, oh, you're in season, you're not in season. I mean, I feel like you're always working, you're always putting in the time. So, yeah, they texted me the day after and were like, hey, some of the girls are coming in to get a workout and if you want to join. And I was like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dip my toes in and just kind of get a taste of what it's going to be like. And I learned so much just in that first hour. It's crazy. It's a whole nother level, whole different level of competitiveness. So, super cool to right away the next day jump in with them and see what it's all about.
So what do you think you learned? I mean, besides the competitiveness part of it, not to get too inner ball, but you mentioned that a couple of times as well, that you just all of a sudden you've learned that this is a big jump up. What did you learn in that 1 hour?
Yeah, it's just a whole different skill set. There's so many different things that they do compared to the college level, different moves and drills, and I guess expectations are different too. You know, it's a whole nother level, and listening is key. It's important to be able to listen to information and absorb it and really put it to work right after you hear it.
So we were here a month ago, like I mentioned. You then went out to Eugene, Oregon to play a first and second round game. Wisconsin, Green Bay, you beat them, you lose to Oregon. You mentioned on that day that it was fun as a freshman to go because you've got the police escorts, everybody's driving you around, but you really wanted to stick around for the weekend. So take me through that whole week after you left us on that Monday, hearing your team called, knowing where you're going to go, getting ready for Green Bay and obviously Oregon as well.
Yeah, so after we found out we were playing Green Bay the next day, we were jumping right into preparations for them, and then headed out to Eugene, and we're out there, I think a day or 2 days before we played. So we just kind of got a feel for the court and got to practice on their court, and it's a really cool facility.
Unique court.
Yeah, it's a unique court. I mean, everybody asks me all the time what it's like playing on it because they're like, well, it looks like it's really distracting. And we're like, I think it's just the camera angle looking down on it, because when you're on it, you don't notice it as much. But yeah, and then leading into Green Bay, we were super excited. I think we got the nerves out the first half. We were a little all over the place, not quite playing Gopher basketball, and then really locked in the second half, and Kiki Bell made a big run for us in the second half, getting to the free throw line. Pulled out a close one with Green Bay, which was super exciting. To win a game in the NCAA tournament's always huge.
Right.
And then a lot of excitement leading up to Oregon, just because we were in their facility. It was a home game for them. It was packed. There was like probably 8,000 people there. So really big game, and it was a blast. Even though we lost, we still had a lot of fun, and I thought we did a good job fighting through it.
Let's get to a couple of questions here for Carlie Wagner before we take our first break of the show. Jen wants to know what you're going to miss most about the University of Minnesota women's basketball team and that whole experience.
Just my teammates, I think, is the biggest one. We had such a fun season, and we were all super close and had so many inside jokes, and we're just laughing and goofing around the whole time. So I'm just really going to miss all the laughs and the inside jokes.
Speaking of inside jokes, is this really your mom right here? Is this Jane Wagner?
Oh my gosh,
pulling
yeah.
in? It's nice. She's very busy today. We appreciate we have one viewer today, Jane. If you can come back next year, we'd like that. When are you going to come home and see Mom?
Gosh.
She's trying to make a WNBA team here, Mom. You know, let's help her a little bit. But obviously, when you're from Minnesota, and that was a big part of all your friends and family were coming up and able to see you. One of the big reasons you stayed home, even though it might be annoying on a Ski-U-Mah weekly show and to embarrass you. Obviously a big part of why you wanted to stay here, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, growing up, I knew that it would be the funnest experience to go to the University of Minnesota. Definitely the aspects of it being close to home, great education, friends and family can come watch, was huge to me. And so I didn't even really take many visits out of high school because I knew that I didn't want to waste other people's time, the schools that were farther away. So I just really visited Iowa State and Minnesota because they were the two biggest schools that I liked that were the closest. So,
do you have an answer for your mom, by the way, on when you're going to visit? I kind of buried that.
I'll try to get home this weekend at some point, Mom.
We'll follow up.
We'll see.
Megan has a question. How has the University of Minnesota prepared you for what you're now trying to do playing in the WNBA?
Yeah, they did a really good job, I think, getting me to where I needed to be, and they really elevated my game, I think, from high school, especially shooting-wise. Coach Stallings really pushed me and got me in the gym and did extra time with me to perfect my shot and make sure that I was doing the right footwork, release, speed, everything. So they really pushed me hard and taught me a lot throughout my career to get me to this point.
George has a question. What's your best in-game memory during your time as a player?
Oh, man, I have so many. I don't know why one of them is so crazy to me. Well, beating Iowa this year 2 out of 3 times was really fun. That's one of my favorites. It's always fun to beat Iowa. But I would say my freshman year after Rachel went down, everybody kind of counted us out and was like, oh, forget about the Gophers. Like, they're not going to do much this year. And then first Big Ten game, we bounced back and beat number 16 Nebraska at home,
Right.
come back from a 16-point deficit in the last couple minutes and win. And I think we kind of opened some eyes, and people knew who the Gophers were after that. And we went to the NCAA tournament that year. So I just think that was a really significant, moment in my career.
What do you remember about the Amanda Zawi B game that year? I mean, every game was crazy that year, but the one was like 37 points, 27 rebounds, whatever it was. What was that experience like? Crazy.
I mean, it's up there with Rachel's 60-point game. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things where you sit on the side watching them do this, and you're like, this is insane. Like, how am I have the opportunity to play with this person, and she's the best. So Azawi just was so much fun to play with because of the energy she brought to the court. She was just straight fire. She would give us energy when we didn't have it. She would get the crowd into it. Just super emotional and fun on the court to play with.